Welcome to the Unlock You with Dr. Shannan Crawford podcast. Life is difficult, and trying to live it to the fullest while constantly second-guessing yourself and feeling stopped by regret or painful experiences can take a toll on anyone. Do you want to get unlocked and see for yourself the beauty that life has to offer? Are you ready for aha moments and strategies to propel your business and family into a world of health? Then you've come to the right place. Join Dr. Shannan Crawford, a licensed psychologist, leadership consultant, conference speaker, and CEO of Crawford Clinics located in Dallas, Texas, as she shares her expertise from her life's commitment to helping you, the CEO, therapy client, parent, and teacher alike, identify and remove the unconscious blocks hindering you from thriving in your potential. We will also have amazing guests with incredible stories, rich knowledge, and keys to help you get unlocked today. Let's get started.
The hardest thing in the entire planet is to recognize when we are triggered. There's no label on the inside that tells me I am currently triggered, and that's why I'm snacking too much. That's why I'm dealing with feeling like an imposter. That's why I'm easily offended or feeling just kind of generally irritable and annoyed. That's why I'm having sleeping problems. That's why my back hurts and I'm kind of having just chest pain and different things going on. That's why I'm being restless and I'm having a hard time being present and focused on anything. Many times we don't realize these discrepancies because it's just our normal. And the weirdest thing about our psychological makeup is we literally go between different self states and don't realize it. I go through different self states, and it could be days, weeks, months, hours, years, and we don't realize that we've shifted from being kind of that healthy, mature prefrontal cortex into a child self state. Now, don't let me lose you. I know leaders, business people, you think this is woo woo, but I'm really good at what I do. And I promise you this will benefit you. Just hang in there with me. At the age that we developed a belief system, your brain created automaticity. So that means there's hard wiring. Hebb's law means that when something wires together, when it's firing together, it's creating a wiring. So it's called fire together, wire together. It's Hebb's law. So your brain is creating automaticity based on a life experience. When we don't deal with something, we don't process it, and it just kind of gets hardwired in without consciously realizing it. It's like a part of my soul stays at that age and maturity level. So personally, I've worked with lots of incredible CEOs who are highly professional and yet come home and they are having a 5-year-old child tantrum, in a power struggle with their child. They may all of a sudden feel insecure and possessive with their spouse. They may feel like everybody's against them at work and nobody likes me. They might all of a sudden start buying fancy cars and shiny things and kind of having this midlife crisis. Many times in society, we think those are just quirks in our personality. The biggest goal I have in this course is for you to learn that's not something you have to live with. We've been sold a simplistic way of thinking. There is so much more to how you're wired and the capacity and the joy that you are made to live in. But if we don't understand our original design, then we end up just abdicating to personality quirks, thinking, oh, I'm just ADHD. Oh, I've just got this kind of irritable tick. And, I'm just stressed. I got a lot on my plate. Everybody deals with imposter syndrome, but you don't have to. Just because something is common and it's familiar to a lot of people in your position does not mean you have to settle into that being your normal and familiar. There is a plan for your life to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you a hope and a future, which includes mental health. It includes a soul that is well, that it's peaceful, that there's fluidity in how you go from home to work, to volunteerism, to quiet time, to pleasure and joy and hobbies and interests and vacation, that you can show up the healthy part of you in each of those spaces from the healthy, true self and not from a triggered self state. So if we just take a litmus test, Again, there's no neon sign that says currently I am triggered. That's why everything somebody says is just getting under my skin and I want to move to a desert island away from everyone. There's no inner narrative that tells me that. It's just how I feel. It's just what I perceive. It just feels like everybody is bombarding me and I'm overwhelmed and I don't want one more person to talk to me today. That is being triggered. Right, wrong, or indifferent, just consider healthy me that's paced, that has rhythm, that's able to create margin and have boundaries around what to say yes to and what to say no to. There's healthy me showing up, and then there's unhealthy me, which could be on the stress side, like I've kind of described before, but it could also be what we would say in psychology. Don't think bipolar manic, just think kind of like high energy, where we might overcompensate and we buy shiny things, or we name drop in conversation and we try to make ourselves look better, feel better, sound more impressive. We might overspend, overbuy, overinvest. We're putting down the check for everybody and buying everybody's lunch and everybody's vacation because it makes me feel good and wanted. If a triggered part of me can feel like, look how impressive I am, everybody. But it's jeopardizing you, your finances, your business, potentially your home. If you're overspending, overcompensating, spending too much time networking and trying to get the deals, that you're not investing in sleep, in quality time, and having habits that are part of your self-care. If you don't have hobbies outside of your family and outside of work, you're probably imbalanced. You need joy and pleasure built into your life where nobody needs anything. You don't have to be the leader. You don't have to be giving or giving advice or mentoring somebody or some kind of working the deal, golfing while doing business. While that's great, you do need some sort of just time to reflect and meditate. You need time to enjoy your family when you're refreshed and not just straight after work and there's no margin and you're going 0 to 90 every day like Groundhog Day. If that's been your life, I would challenge you. Have you potentially been triggered? Have I potentially been triggered as we live in seasons like this and take for granted that that's normal? The crazy thing is you can live in one season two completely different ways. There's a way to live with peace that transcends all understanding, that guards your heart and mind. There's also a way to live in the exact same situation where I'll put myself in that as well, irritable, annoyed, overeating, busy, always multitasking, always checking my phone, responding to emails. And there's a little bit of a high of getting all the things checked off, of responding to everybody, of being needed, of being the hero, the go-to, the person that everybody needs. And we don't realize how unconsciously we're actually trying to get some of our identity needs met. If you've been around leadership long enough, you've heard talks about leadership. And we know better, right? We know not to get our identity, our worth, our value through our position. But I would argue just knowing that at the software level of conscious mind doesn't change the hard drive of where it was originally built and established, where it was hardwired in when we were 5 years old looking to our parent. Do you see me? Do you recognize me? Am I inferior? Am I enough? Are you proud of me, or do I need to perform more so that you notice me? Whatever those core beliefs happen to be back then, think of it like a hard drive that it's still programmed and it's running in the background without your awareness and without your permission. You and I are sophisticated, amazing, brilliant leaders. We're doing great work, and we have hard drive. We have things that were built and established early in life, and that is still running in the background without our permission, mine included. And so we get in these seasons where we think it's just normal. It's just being a leader. It's just COVID post life and rebuilding and calibrating. It's just the pace of life these days in America. No, gross. Reject those lies. You do not have to live in burnout. You can be highly effective, highly efficient. You can be the go-to person. You can lead multiple industries and show up well emotionally with your family, with your team, and in your own quiet time of joy and pleasure, of having hobbies and interests, of being your own person separate from just the identity of who you are at work and the role and position you hold. Now, again, you can know that here and work really hard to change it, but it's not until we realize, oh, I'm triggered. Oh, there's an unconscious part of me that's kind of driving this need to perform, to prove myself, to get another accomplishment, to get more money in the bank, to validate that I'm safe, I'm protected, I'm provided for. And without realizing it, those unconscious parts of us are driving us into burnout. You will work yourself past exhaustion and not sharpen the axe. You know that expression, we love it. But in real life, to actually stop, not just to stop working, but to mentally take a break, requires yours and mine, our unconscious, saying, I surrender needing my work, my family, my achievements, my bank account, my accomplishments to be the source of my identity. So to do that, I need to do an internal board meeting. And we'll talk about that in another video of how to actually resolve it. But first, I have to recognize I am operating from the unconscious brain in order to recognize the next step of how to resolve it. The hardest thing is our defense mechanisms, my defense mechanisms, block me from recognizing when I am operating from an unconscious part of me.
I hope you're enjoying this excerpt from a series of business leader e-courses we're getting ready to launch. To access the full course, go to drshannancrawford.com. Sign up for the newsletter to be notified when this course will be released. You'll also be updated when future courses on topics such as marriage, mental health, ministry leadership, and parenting will be released. I would also love to share about crawfordclinics.com. You can find mental health resources and connect with a therapist there. Our hope is to proactively address mental health, to restore kindness, creativity, and reduce anxiety and depression in your sphere of influence. In working with leaders over the past decade, we've seen increases in their organizational profitability. We've found that the more the leader and the organizational leaders invest in him or herself, the greater the capacity for innovation. Thank you for investing in yourself, your family, and your team. We are honored to serve you and your vision.